بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Privacy in Deen is essential. It is a fundamental in every aspect of our life. It's necessary, it is critical, it is vital, it is crucial. And privacy in all aspects, whether it's even in our daily lives. We find nowadays we don't talk to people, we talk about them. We don't talk to people, we talk about them. And that's what social media is all about. The platforms of gossip and riba and backbiting. That's why they say gossip dies when it reaches the wise. Gossip dies when it reaches the wise. So we should be wise enough not to promote any backbiting, gossip, slander. When an outsider knows your business, reconsider your insiders. Again, confidential information is breached. So what is in a business shouldn't go out, but people freely, employees, talk about their bosses, talk about the business. It is an amana and you are making khiyana. It is a breach of this trust. The fact that you got that position and you have been given that responsibility shows that you are trusted. So don't rupture this trust, don't violate. It is actually tantamount to betrayal. So that's why they say if it's not your story to tell, don't tell it. If it's not your story to tell, don't tell it. So in the time of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, the incident of Ma'iz Aslami radiyallahu an is known, and he had somebody who looked after the sheep, and it happened such that he had a relationship with her. So another Sahabi came to him and told him that go to Nabi alayhi salam and explain to him what had happened. If you don't tell him, revelation will come. So he forced him, he insisted until he went, and Nabi alayhi salam told this Sahabi, لو سترته بثوبك كان خيرا لك. If only you had covered him with your garment, it would have been better for you. It would have been better for you. So obviously the Sahabi was stoned to death, but Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam asked him, because it wasn't for witnesses, it wasn't, the Shari hudud did not become necessary. And after that, وَدَعَى رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ الْمَرْأَةَ الَّتِي أَصَابَهَا, that same girl that he had a relationship with, اذهبي, go about your life, carry on like normal. Moosa alayhi salatu wasalam as well, the riwayat mention, إن موسى كان رجلا حييا ستيرا. He had a great amount of modesty. So he was a very modest person, and he liked privacy. So privacy in all aspects. The outside sitter, so out of haya, he didn't want anybody to see his skin. And the Bani Israel, فَآذَاهُ مَنْ آذَاهُ مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, they gave him a lot of difficulties and hardship. And they said, مَا يَسْتَتِرُ هَذَا, he does not cover, he covers himself so much إلا من عيب بجلده إما برص وإما أدرة. Different reasons they gave to make allegations against Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to exonerate and acquit him. And that whole incident where Allah vindicated Musa alayhi salam occurred. So this is the quality of Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. So it's all aspects, our personal life, our private life, our family life, with regards to the masturat. Mastur in Arabic, satara yasturu, mastur, hidden. So that's an important usul in deen. So we have to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever a person is, we need to turn to Allah and try to take opportunity of this life which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. As Ml Thanwi rahmatullah used to explain under this ayah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين. When, oh you believe, when you contract a debt for a fixed period and that transaction is taking place where you take a loan, then it should be written down. So this ayat of Surah Baqarah, according to Hazrat, is the ayat of the most mercy. Why? Allah is teaching us that He does not want us to suffer a loss of dunya, not even 1 cent. So document it, get a contract in place, have witnesses and do it properly. So both parties are preserved. If Allah doesn't even want 1 cent of dunya to come to our loss, then how can He tolerate our adab and punishment? So Allah, Inna Allah yad'u ila daris salam. Allah is a da'i to Jannah. Allah wants us to be Jannatis. It's all left up to us now. So every amr of Allah, every command of Allah is important, and by abiding by that we preserving our dunya and we are preserving our akhirat. And when there is compromise, when there is the opposite, then the consequences are likewise as well. So it is very important that a person does not breach the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise the consequences may be grave. So whatever the role is, whatever our responsibility is, we should not invert it. We should not change it, and the consequences may be grave. So we need to see that we need to stick to our roles, to the commands. They say there was a reporter who saw a crowd gathered around a road accident and he wanted to be part of the news. He needed to broadcast, so he wanted a scoop of the news. So he told the bystanders, let me through, I'm the son of the victim. So he couldn't see, there's a crowd, let me through, I am the son of the victim. So everybody gave him way, and as everything, the crowd opened up, in front of the car was a donkey line. It was a donkey. So we have to make sure there's no shortfall in deen. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. We've been taken out for the benefit of mankind, no matter where on earth, who on earth, what color, what background, whether it's a human or an animal. How Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam was a mercy to mankind, we also should become a mercy to humanity. The Nabi of Allah is our role model, nobody else. We follow Allah and His Rasul, we will be honored. We choose the opposite. We follow any other way of life, there will be a disgrace. Like the statement of Umar radiallahu anhu, لَوْ نَطْلُبُ الْعِزَّةِ. If we're to seek honor in any other way, then we are seeking our own destruction and disgrace. So the purpose, we should follow every command of Allah. They say, years before the Gulf War, a journalist came to do a story on gender roles in one of the Middle Eastern countries. And the journalist noticed that it was a custom for women to walk behind their husbands. But after the journalist returned now, after the war, the men walked behind their wives. The journalist, addressing the women, said, "This is brilliant news. This is wonderful news. This is a breakthrough." So she asked him, "Tell me, what enabled women here to achieve this reversal of roles? How did you manage to achieve this here?" So the women gave a simple answer that we can attribute this accomplishment and triumph to landmines. So, coming back to privacy. So part of privacy is keeping our address private and confidential, whether it is from thieves, whether it is from scammers, whether it's from fake policemen dressed as police to extort money, or real cops who come just as extortionists, or people who want to oppress. So a person should have a backup plan. So once you know that this address is not public knowledge, then anybody looking for you, if you don't recognize them, you know they have no reason to be there. So and different people, whether it's an old office building with offices, etc., and your deliveries, your mail, your other important items need to go to, but it shouldn't be directly to a person's address. So likewise, you may have some welfare organizations that may be ready, so you serve them, do some khidmah, etc., and you want your parcels to go there also. Likewise, other people, what they do is that they find these shipping outfitters, this offices where they manage certain things. So you could go to them, and it could be a drop-off place for your FedEx, for your DHL, online buying, take a lot, eBay, your supplies. So you just pay them a fee to say for every package that I receive, you can charge me so much, leave a deposit, and make that as your delivery address. Likewise, whether it's somebody that does office services, bookkeeping, accountants as well, ask them, do they receive parcels on behalf of their clients? If they say yes, have a rate, fix it, and get your items delivered there. So a simple thing like a person who their normal home puts the number. So obviously each country has different laws, but again, that one number may be just the game over, because thieves need to identify a place, hackers need to identify a place, and the more information that's out, the more you are at risk. What some people have done is they use the mobile home, and they get permits based on the jurisdiction, and the temporary permit is sufficient. Even on tax returns, giving your home address, if it's in the wrong hands, may cause certain issues. So there was a person, a clerk, who was working for the IRS, and he was stalking a certain girl for 16 months. So she thought so everything was secret, her telephone number was secret, and obviously the location she moved was supposed to be secret. And she told her neighbors to be on a lookout for a person of this description. So although the IRS at that point in time had 56,000 employees, not everybody had access to the files, but he knew somebody, a co-worker, and asked him to run a search. So this girl was filing her returns, and he tracked the building. He got to the building. It was locked, the lobby. So he pressed the buzzers, and one of the neighbors let him in. Whatever story he put forward, and he was just about to enter home from the front door when she noticed him, and she called the police. So he managed to breach, but the police got in time. In his car they found a stun gun, rope, latex gloves, duct tape, a knife, etc. So imagine if there were 56,000, from them they got 5 friends who got further 5 friends. The possibility is 1.4 million people who have access to that information. Something like when traveling, do you put your home address on your tag? So firstly, if it's somebody who plants a drug and then collects it at the airport or collects it to the home, or they plan a robbery, so if you do get out, or somebody sees valuables and this bag is valuable and what's the address, so based on your bag they can profile you and plan to rob a person when you arriving in that country, when you will get home. So from one country or from that airport as well, they could relay information to thieves. So every bit of information, where we release it, we have to be very careful. So from courier services to wherever, if a person wants to order food, it's very simple. So a person's got a habit of ordering food from a certain place. So all a person needs to do is that phone that food outlet, and normally they have it on the database, your phone number. So they call on a private call and say, this is my number, and so you have my address on the system. But they could do that to every food outlet in their town. So there may be 5 or 7. Say, I want to order this. Yes, sure. Okay, this is the menu. I want this. Just take my number. Check. You've got it on the system, isn't it? Yeah. What address do you have? I just want to check if it's right. And compromise. So the home address is confidential. People are going into people's homes dressed as policemen, dressed as delivery boys, dressed as people who are stuck. Their cars are not working. They just need water. So on a good note, you put your life at risk. There was a Mexican journalist who wrote a book, The Boss of the Gulf, and it was about the Mexico's federal attorney general. So they were journalists, husband and wife, and they had 3 kids, and they had a decent, attractive home in an upscale neighborhood in Mexico City. So it so happened that their bodies, the husband, the wife, and their 3 children, were found. It was a brutal murder, and that murder took place a day after the president fired the attorney general. This whole book was about him. So a simple author writing a book, the entire family was wiped out. People that you invite in your homes, somebody to do cleaning, somebody to do carpet cleaner, somebody to babysit the children. So all these people need to be vetted, because your information could be bought. They're earning X amount. So you need to do serious background checks. How dindar, how much taqwa they have. And babysitters normally is a no-go zone. A no-go zone. If it's not grandma, it's nobody else, or stay at home. So a person must make sure and check that all information that is important is not handed over to strangers so easily. So every person that enters your house may be a breach. The amal for today is the importance of reading Salah with Jama'ah. Salatul Rajulain ya'ummu ahaduhuma sahibahu أزكى عند الله من صلاة أربعة تترى. So two people reading Salat with Jama'at is more pure, more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than four people reading individually, and four people in Jama'at is better than eight. وَالصَّلَاةُ ثَمَانِيَةٍ يَؤُمُّ أَحَدُهُمْ أَزْكَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ صَلَاةِ مِئَةٍ تَتْرَى. Eight people reading Salat with Jamaat is more purer, better, beloved to Allah than 100 people reading Salah individually. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq of understanding and making amal. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.